day, where you get up, you don't have any electronic, appliances or goods that we are so used to using. Imagine you don't have a smartphone. Imagine you don't have a TV to watch. Imagine you don't have any electronics appliances which helps you on your day-to-day journey. Nothing is available. Imagine this kind of a situation, and let's take an example of TV. We have seen the black box, a black and white TV, a box type, moving on to color TV, moving on to LCD, LED, OLED. Today we have three-dimensional TV and smart TVs. Technology and innovation has moved from place to place, and with that, the demand for such kind of a technology and innovation also have gone. Uh, in India, the growing disposable income and technological innovations have led to increase in demand for such consumer electronics goods. With a population exceeding 135 million, India has become a sweet spot for multinationals into consumer electronics to be a market play. Indian appliances and consumer electronics industry was valued at 9.84 billion in 21 and is expected to cross 21 billion by 2025. Friends, technology and innovation play a key role in this sector. And, who other than Manish, who's our guest for the day, will be a better person to tell us, how the players in these sectors are constantly working on innovations by partnering with startups and adopting new technologies. Manish is a Chief Innovation Officer at Panasonic India. Panasonic is one of the biggest conglomerate and the central character in the electronic appliance industry. As the Chief Innovation Officer, he is responsible for the strategic development on innovation and technology. He has an experience of more than 2 decades in this industry. With this, welcome Manish to Namaste Tomorrow.
Thank you, Utpal. Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be here today.
Okay. So, Manish, I think my first question, you have spent 2 decades in this sector. You are Chief Innovation Officer. So, how do you stay updated on the emerging trends and technologies and ensure that your organization is well positioned to take advantage of such new opportunities?
Sure. I mean, like you said rightly, I think the pace with which the digital transformation is happening in the last few years is like 10x than it was maybe 10 years or 20 years back. And I have seen myself with 27 years of industry experience, the kind of technologies that we used to sort of hear, but we're not able to conceptualize. The use cases are pretty visible now. For example, if you think of IoT, if you think of artificial intelligence, if you think of augmented reality, I mean, we have very clear use cases. For example, and for that, of course, I have to also keep up the pace, keep updating my skills also, and also utilizing some of those technologies to create corporate kind of innovations or platforms. So for instance, in Panasonic, we launched our connected home platform called Mirai, uh, which actually means Mirai is future and EA means space or home. So, and AI is in the center of that. So these kind of things are happening, and today we have very clear use cases how companies are kind of using artificial intelligence to to online marketing, for cross selling, upselling. There are use cases of chatbots where corporations like us are kind of doing better customer service. There are uses patterns that we are observing of the appliances, and based on that we are providing a lot of insights on the diagnostic to our service engineers. So these kind of things are reality today, and the pace with which this technology will continue to be adopted will be even faster in the next few years. A lot of things have happened in the pandemic also. During pandemic, the pace with which people wanted to adopt these technologies was very, very high. People wanted to explore touchless technologies, and the pace with which the UPI kind of got adopted. So these are the things which are actually happening today, and we see clear sort of speed with which corporates are kind of doing innovation, adopting digital technologies, as well as the pace with which startups are doing digital innovation. So that's how I would
Right.
summarize, Utpal.
Right. Oh, great. So, I think my next question is related. You have seen the technology moving. It's changing very fast. So, at Panasonic, how do you look at engaging with startups through the programs that you have created, both in terms of corporate venture capital as well as corporate innovation? If you can just share a brief about it.
Sure. So if you think of the startup ecosystem, it's becoming very vibrant. I think third largest in the world now in India. And we see Indian startups have kind of increased the pace with which they want to partner with the corporations, and the partnership could be in the multiple dimensions. The partnership is not just from getting the funding point of view, but partnership is also from either mentorship or extending their solutions to the wider market, or getting outreach to broader customer base. And we at Panasonic also partner with a lot of startups, again in the multiple dimensions. Uh, I think two things that happen. Partnering with a startup is the pace with which you can do the innovation, and you can bring some of the new technologies and commercialize them and productize them. The second part of it is also kind of you do a lot of experiments also with the startups. You can do that so that you fail fast, learn fast, and move on. So these are the few things I feel that corporations can leverage from the startup partnership. And we at Panasonic also, like I said, have collaboration with many startups. So we leverage that.
Right. Right. So, one more question, and based on your experience, how have you actually seen over 2 decades? How have you seen? While we are aware that technology has changed, and we have seen the products also changing shape and form. How have you seen technology changing in this industry from your perspective?
Sure. I think if you see the use cases for some of the technologies in the last in the 20 years back, I can give example. We never heard the use cases for technologies like IoT, Internet of Things. We we sort of studied artificial intelligence in our school, in our engineering colleges, but we could not relate what are the use cases for that. uh, Augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, we heard about it, but we could not relate to what kind of use cases would be there. Now if I talk about some of those technologies and what are the real use cases, so for example IoT, when we launched our Mirai platform, which is for connected living, for residential, we made 20 plus product categories to come to this platform. We made all our appliances from non-smart to smart. Now you can operate those appliances from not just your mobile phone, but you can also leverage a lot of other things. For example, you can set your sleep profile. So what time you go to bed, what should be the AC temperature, and what time after 2 hours, what should be the temperature. You can set it for next 8 or 9 hours. So normally what we have seen is when we go to bed, we put AC at pretty low temperature, and in the middle of the night we get up and increase the temperature. And again in the middle of the night we get up and turn it off. But now you can set this profile, and and you can have a very comfort sleep. Similarly, we have sort of a lot of recommendation coming from our platform. We can, based on the weather data, based on the outside temperature, based on the humidity, we recommend what mode or what temperature you should run. Um, Similarly, for our washing machine, um, we provide weather related data that tomorrow it might be a rainy day, so you can wash your clothes. So these are the real use cases which we are seeing. Now we extended that uh, residential IoT. Did I lose Utpal? So anyway, I'll just continue. Uh,
Yeah,
so we
yeah, yeah.
expanded our residential IoT platform to our industrial IoT, and we launched Mirai Pro Factory. Now think about what amount of data is coming, and how much data that we churn, and then basis that we provide a lot of insights, lot of recommendations. That is really useful. So that's one trend that we are seeing. And now, if I talk about augmented reality or virtual reality, right? These technologies are being used for remote training uh, at the shop floor in a factory. You know how to utilize a particular machine, and it's safety is very important for people like us as manufacturers. So some of these technologies are actually helping. Before a worker goes to operate a machine, he is very well trained using AR VR tools and technologies and solution, that he is more comfortable to operate on those machines. Similarly, for remote servicing, AR VR is kind of becoming a very good technology tool for us to do the service. So these are the trends that I'm seeing, which were not there 20 years back, and now we see real use cases of those. And in my mind, technology should make a difference in people's life. And one of the beliefs that Panasonic has, that we should democratize the technology so that it reaches to each and everybody in the society and is able to make certain differences so that they have comfort, convenience, and connectivity. So this is the sort of thing that we are also pushing as part of our innovation agenda.
Right. I think so. Rightly put, Manish. Technology has moved, and the intention has to be, democratize the technology which is available for everyone to use. A related question to what you have seen, as a technological advances. So, technology and innovation, are frequently changing in consumer electronics sector. While we are currently seeing AI, ML, we are seeing VR, we are seeing IoT. What's your take on the next set of emerging technologies that will be a key player or key drivers in this industry for next 3 years?
So if I look at, I think the biggest focus that now every organization has is towards ESG, which is environment, social, and governance, which is the overall part of sustainability. So, few things that I potentially see in sectors like, of course, IoT will continue to grow. The outreach of IoT will move from home IoT, smart home, to industrial IoT, to commercial IoT, and a lot of use cases are there. The second thing that we will see is uh, the sustainable energy. uh, how do we move towards that? So sustainability will become big focus. So in that direction, the energy will be big focus, and for us also it's big focus. We provide solar panels, we provide a lot of technologies. We are also now moving creating our new platform towards e-mobility. So those areas will also grow. uh, Augmented reality, virtual reality is like in the nascent stages, but that has very large use case. Where IoT was like 5 or 6 years back, that is the stage AR, VR, MR is today, but that will grow. The other thing is video and imaging would be also one focus area, for the corporations, for you know remote monitoring, remote sensing, those kind of things. So that's where we see that a lot of drone related technologies, those are the also will become very very handy. So these are the few areas that I feel will have more focus. Sustainability will be a big focus for the organization, which is already has. You have to report your ESG dashboards, right, these days. So that's how I would sort of summarize.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe, with an intention of each and every corporate moving towards a net zero situation, I think so sustainability, as you rightly put in, is going to be a key theme within, this industry as well. Uh, So, Manish, what's your view on startups who are currently playing in this field? You know, do you believe that they are currently playing a catalyst role in the whole corporate innovation theme, or they need to engage more with corporates? What's your take on it?
I think if I sort of reflect, so the startups also provide the speed with which corporation can do the innovation. But I believe today the the level which with startups are sort of collaborating with corporation can also grow, because I think it's a two-way road. you know while startups get a lot of insights from the breadth and depth of the corporations like us, we also get very quick access to some of the latest and greatest technologies or solutions or innovation. So there is a good marriage between the two. Um, Now, sometimes also startups bring very fresh perspective, you know, and that is sort of, very refreshing for corporations which are very big and, have been there for 100 plus years, so those kind of, things also useful for corporates to learn, this, it it could help in sort of, shifting the culture, so to say, you know. Having said that, I think uh, what I have also observed is, uh, today most of the startups, when they kind of, come out, it is more from a sort of, personal interest of the founder. But I think we should also encourage startups to think about what is their real objective. Uh, in my mind, it is not about, what is your valuation. In my mind, it is the question in the startup founder's mind should be, how would I add value to the people, to the society? And I think once that thought process comes, you know then the way the approach would be quite different. you know if I think of it, startups should look at things where they can make a bigger impact, because I have also personally seen that after reaching to certain level in 2 or 3 years, they hit a ceiling, and beyond that they are not able to see what else they can do, and then it's a copy paste sort of thing. Oh, this guy is also doing something, so we should do that, or this guy. So then we have to encourage, and corporations like us, we do that because that's in our DNA, to help societies, to help people. How do you give that direction or that kind of view to your innovation goal, growth goal, and things like that?
Right. And, I think so. Rightly, you have actually answered my next question, which I was actually about to ask you is, what startups need to be aware of, when they're actually engaging with corporates on the corporate innovation front. Having said that, in the present scenario where startups are, developing disruptive technologies which are useful for the industry, there's always a question, innovation is a key in this sector. Whether the corporate should look at building the such kind of a technology on its own or engage with startups to lead the sector. So what's the corporate thought process around it? Are the corporates only looking at innovation labs within the corporate itself, or they are open to look at? And this is an industry wide question. Obviously Panasonic is currently engaging with startup, but in your thought process, how the industry is moving.
Sure. I think, uh, I don't think that there is a one size fit for all kind of situation here. Now, and what I mean by that is that it has to be a very good balance between the two. And why I'm saying is that when corporates look at the innovation, and uh, they look at much broader perspective. So I'll just give you one example. If I talk about our manufacturing, smart manufacturing solution, Mirai Pro Factory, right? It provides very wide variety of machine coverage, a lot of data visualization, a lot of insights, predictive maintenance, prescriptive maintenance. Now we are integrating warehouse management, supply chain management solutions. So we are thinking very holistic end-to-end manufacturing execution system. Now, when startups come, we find one startup doing something on the you know quality management system. Some startup is doing something on traceability. Some startups are doing something on. So they are actually putting one dot in the overall bigger you know sphere, so to say. Now that is where what I feel is, while corporates can do their innovation focus on certain areas which are much more broader, they can leverage startup technologies. For example, you know, putting that traceability sort of solution into the overall solution, or putting that analytic solution, video analytic solution into the overall solution. So that's why I feel it should be a mix and match of both, and there should be right balance. uh, the balance in the term that how much innovation you have, what are your objectives from the innovation, uh, and what you want to drive towards the end, right, eventually. So that's how I would put, this has to be a good balance between the two.
Right. So, again, a related question, as you've rightly put it, there has to be a right mix between, developing something in-house versus engaging with startups to take benefit of, technologies that they are developing. In your view, corporates should have an annual, innovation budget. How do they basically carry out this kind of activity of engaging with startups through corporate innovation?
Yeah, I think the decision whether to have an innovation fund, it depends on multiple parameters, and those could be in terms of what your objectives are, what you want to achieve out of it, what is your priority on the innovation agenda, how much resources you want to put. But I believe that having a dedicated innovation fund puts a little bit more structure on the innovation strategy, you know, and also brings a lot more focus towards innovation, because you want to utilize that fund and you want to do something out of it, you want to create something, you want to commercialize something, and also you understand the sense of urgency. So I think having an innovation fund could be a very good tool for companies to sort of speed up their innovation agenda. I mean, in case of Panasonic, uh, uh, I had the India Innovation Center, right? And so it was born 5 years back, and Panasonic, committed close to 250 crores on this India Innovation Center. So you can imagine amount of money, and that is how we have been able to sustain ourselves. We have been able to create those platforms that we have created. We have been able to execute things at a much faster pace. Also, we also have our corporate venture, you know, capital fund, right? So we look at globally, investing in startups, uh, and sort of acquiring startups also. Panasonic has done quite a bit of acquisitions. So I personally feel that it's a very good tool if you have your, some sort of, innovation budget or focus, because it brings a lot of things into perspective, and it brings a lot more structure to your innovation strategy.
Right. So, Manish, 5 years, you have seen those 5 years of engagement with startups, both from the CVC perspective, from the corporate innovation perspective. What's your sense from now to next 3 years? The economy is moving, it's moving very fast, it is so vibrant. What's your plan at Panasonic to engage with them through both your programs over next 3 years?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, we very actively collaborate with the startups, uh, and in the next few years, like I also mentioned that from our focus point of view, our focus is to not only create the pillars on smart home IoT, commercial IoT, industrial IoT, but we have also created pillars in terms of our digital signage solutions. Uh, we want to create our pillar for e-mobility. So this is what we will continue to do and grow. Now, in this process, if there are startups and we continue to look into things on ESG point of view, uh, renewable energy is our focus area. So if there are startups who are operating in these spaces, then definitely there would be a good match, so to say, from our interest point of view. Now, we will continue to do things in house, but we also want to leverage the outside innovation ecosystem where startups play. So, this would be our continued focus. So, I mentioned ESG, e mobility, those are the areas that we will continue to expand or create
Right.
new platform, you know, and commercial IoT.
Correct. So, Manish, thanks for sharing. I think so. Need some of your thoughts for the startup, startup entrepreneurs as your, parting notes. What you believe that as a startup entrepreneur they should bear in mind. What are their objectives? How do they look at engaging with corporates?
I think startup should keep in mind that number one, what segment, what industry they are operating, and what kind of organizations or corporates they would like to collaborate. Also, as I mentioned earlier, the focus should not be on valuation versus value. How much value I can create for the society, for the people. And if that thought process comes, then the approach would be very different. Uh, Valuation should be the byproduct of your value that you do, you know, but it should not be the goal. Also, I believe, as I mentioned, that from our point of view, our focus areas would be continued towards, you know, smart home, smart spaces, industrial IoT, ESG, renewable energy, uh, and a lot of VR related solutions. Like I gave examples of remote servicing, remote training, or any unique artificial intelligence solution. So if they have some of those things, those could be the areas for them to kind of further grow. Also, I believe whether a corporate does investment in a startup or not, I personally believe a startup should have some mentorship from the corporates for sure, because they can give a very wide perspectives of ups and downs, so that startups are better prepared, you know, and they can also give lot of perspective on the success and failures, uh, so that startups are again better prepared from a future growth strategy point of view. Uh, so those are the few areas I would suggest, you know, to look at. But the most important, as I said, is always I say value versus valuation. Yep, that's how I would summarize it, Utpal. Utpal, you are able to hear me?
Yeah, yeah. I'm able to hear. I think so. Manish very aptly put. Startup founders, startup entrepreneurs should look at value creation and not the valuation. I think so. This is very important, and this is a very important message for all the startup entrepreneurs over here. So, with that, thank you very much, Manish, for sharing your views on how the technology and innovation is playing a key role in the consumer electronics sector. But most importantly, your thoughts on how startups and corporates both look at, ensuring a good partnership, for the growth of this sector.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Utpal. It was pleasure. Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely, pleasure is ours, and we look forward to connect with you, obviously. And thank you everyone for joining this interesting sessions. Stay tuned for more such interesting sessions. We'll have the thought leaders, the thought creators in various sectors. Have a good weekend. Have a good weekend, uh, Manish, as well.
Yes, thanks, Utpal. You also have a nice weekend. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.